Ah! Oh my god!
Oh, hello. Sorry, I suppose. Do you have an edible brain?
Well, what?
Actually, don't worry about that. It wouldn't really matter if it was edible if it wasn't tasty, right? It's a new question. Is your brain perhaps maybe tasty?
How are you back?
It's quite simple, really.
You lost all of your lives. You're not supposed to be able to come back.
No, I mean, we're not really fully back. We're 4 out of 10's back. 2/5.
What? What? Why did you two explode the graves? I just cleaned those.
Oh, right, Skiz. Do you know where Cleo is? We kind of need to see her.
We belong to her.
That's a bit much to tell him, but yes, that. It's a good point. Your brain doesn't have to be tasty. It's fine. We can just find a good one later. So sorry about this.
No!
Oh, Skiz! Oh, we really miffed this one. We still don't know where Cleo is.
Has the grunt and sweat of a weary life got you down, but the dread of the undiscovered country that lies after death got you worse? Well, you'll no longer need to worry about your fear of the lands born of which no traveler returns with ZombieCleo's resurrection services. All of the release of dying with none of the drudges of commitment. For instead of what dreams may come in that sleep of death, you get to come back and serve the coolest undead around. While employed under ZombieCleo, forget about all the ills you have and the whips and scores of time and feel alive, yet still dead. Side effects of shuffling off this mortal coil may include but are not limited to rotting, puzzled will, cowardly conscience, stuffy nose, the power contumely, annoyance, Mumbo, annoyance from Mumbo, a sickly odor of Yogasa, and rabies. If you're looking to escape the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks the flesh is heir to, call ZombieCleo's resurrection services today.
Welcome back to the Wildlife Recap Show. I'm Rosaic, and this week we lost a dodgeball and accidentally hit a big dog. Jimmy finally made it past week 7, and everyone has superpowers. But before we get into all that, let's take a look at all the traps that were made this session and how none of them worked. This week, everything started to come to a head as many players lost their lives, leaving everyone either on yellow or red. That just means that everyone is desperate to eliminate others from the series before they are eliminated and are too scared to do it in person. Lizzie's episode centered entirely on failed traps. She started out warning her fellow bamboozlers of Big B's pitfall trap that she'd recently uncovered near the top of the stairs. This trap did fail to catch anyone this session, but the trap had a very similar neighbor made by Grian that cartoonishly got Scar.
Dang it!
Lizzie's next attempt was at the final girl's base, but that plan immediately got foiled as Cleo and Scott returned before she could set it. Hey, do you guys remember when the final girls were supposed to have moved out? Yeah, me neither. Lizzie left the Cake Castle grounds and returned later to try again, but the base was still occupied. Scott mentioned in conversation that there were eggs in the basket, referring to a different trap at their entrance, but Lizzie took that as a sign that she'd been caught and ran.
Also, there are eggs in the basket, by the way.
In the bar. Oh, down below.
Yeah. There's eggs in the basket.
Gotcha.
There's only one thing that eggs in the basket could mean. I know a code phrase when I hear one.
Her last tries involved trapping barrels with explosives so they would go off when people opened them. She first attempted this on the family space, but Jem noticed it as soon as Lizzie built the trap, so Lizzie gathered the materials up to try again at another base. Instead of trapping one of the tough guy's external chests, she sets up a barrel in the hopes that its appearance will intrigue people into opening it. It doesn't.
I waited in the tree for several days, and while so many people got tantalizingly close to my barrel, it seemed like nobody was going to open it.
Joel had his own share of traps go wrong, proving these two are truly soulmates. Those who fail together, stay together. He set up a TNT minecart beneath the stairs of his car with a mess of levers on the ground. The hope was to distract people from flicking the real lever so that the trap wouldn't get used except by Joel, but this just meant that people like Mumbo and Skiz would flick every lever. Oh right, Mumbo and Skiz are back, more on that later. He also edited his trap under the hill from last week to no longer activate by placing a block and instead from a door opening. While this is a more reliable activation sound, just as a reminder, his trap is activated by a calibrated skulk sensor. The sensor reacts to sounds within a 16-block radius. He already dug a tunnel, he could have just dug it a bit deeper. Pearl and Impulse, still after Jem said, set up a trap under the barn. The intent was for it to be triggered by Jem opening the gate to enter her house, but any block activation counts.
The thingamajiggy?
It's coming So we
into
do
the purple
this?
stripe. Yeah, into the purple stripe. Yep. And then your lectern.
I'm trying to remember things, yeah?
Oh, I heard trident. I heard I just started trident.
Oh gosh, I gotta censor
What was
this.
that?
Okay, now try
Okay.
this done.
Yes.
Yeah, that worked. Nice. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't work when it closes, which is exactly what we want, because we want to close it behind us.
This includes a player opening a chest, which is exactly what Gem did after pillaring up to her window to access the chest on the top floor instead of going through the main door because Pearl was standing in the way of the entrance. Finally, to no one's surprise, Beat Up's tower was exploded again. We don't know who did it, so if the perpetrator could please come forward, you will be gifted a cash reward of Beat Up's being really sad.
There's
Why? I keep filling this freaking hole! I prepared this 20 times, I'm gonna lose my mind!
Now, for this week's wildcard, we go out to someone who is completely normal this week.
You see that building over there? It's called Shady Ease. That's it. That's all this is. We're just taking up ad space. Yeah, this isn't a commercial. We're not advertising anything. There are no illegal products here. We didn't even say the word illegal. You're making that up. There aren't even products to sell. What is a shulker box? Do not fly into the sky above spawn. Wake. This message was approved by Etho's Lab. Hey gang, we're gonna take this real relaxed line today. Remember when I said last week was the calm before the storm? Yeah, storm! Before the session started, the players were told that they would have a new mysterious button to use bound to their M key. The final girls stated outright that they knew it would be for a superpower, but Joel said that he was never told what the button was for. Maybe he doesn't listen, maybe he can't read, maybe the final girls guessed and got lucky. All feasible possibilities. A few minutes into everyone's recordings, music began to play, reminiscent of what you might hear from a superhero cartoon.
Okay, yellow and green are my favorite, so that's good. There we go, 50-50 there. Oh! Whoa, what the heck? What's happening? What is this?
This is wrongly identified as electronic bagpipes by Scar, considering the main instrument was a horn, and as 80s action hero music by Tango, which was the wrong genre. I'm strongly wondering if these two have ever heard music before. It sounds partially inspired by the theme song for the 2000s cartoon Justice League Unlimited. Which makes sense because that cartoon was about superheroes. Justice League Unlimited, that is. That's the cartoon I'm talking about. They have superpowers in that show, if you're unfamiliar with what the Justice League is. With the series ending soon, we'd like to take a quick moment to shout out the datapack creator, Dr. Bracewell. She's one of the developers for the Windcraft server that Grian helped to start and was brought on to make the wildcards for the series. Her work has been incredible and we're all very appreciative of what she's done. Now, onto what power each player receives. Some of the powers are randomized, but many of these are themed around each lifer's history in the series, along with inside jokes from other SMPs in the real world. We don't know for certain which were made up and which were random, so we'll be describing every power as if they were personalized unless we can. I've made a fun little slide presentation for us to get through, so enjoy my little doodles. If I don't mention where their alias or ability name is from, it's one I've made up, and it's not canon. There's a lot to get through, so get your snacks. It's superhero time. Alright. Beat-ups. He is known for always carrying a clock around to know when it's time to sleep in Minecraft, and then, you know, sleeping. His hero name is the title of his episode. It's also very self-explanatory, so he discovered that he could slow down time, although it also affected him when he did. In addition, he was able to sleep in a bed at night, which would be announced on everyone's screens, and then he would be able to skip the night cycle. The life series typically requires everyone to be in bed to pass the night, so this technically is a superpower, but considering no one else checked if they could sleep, it could also not be a superpower.
Oh, I'm in. I'm sleeping. I'm actually sleeping. And you're welcome! You're welcome!
Big B, this season he's associated himself with the Pale Garden biome and the creaking mobs that go with it, and he was given the ability to summon and send out 3 creakings by toggling his power key, and then named himself the creaking leader in his title. The creakings follow the attack patterns of the real mob, chasing after players when they stop looking at him or the mobs. We didn't see anyone try to attack the creaking, so we're not sure if they would die in one hit like if you spawned one with a spawn egg, or if Big B counts as a creaking hard and therefore they can't die. Also, basing his power off of something that only happened this season is impressive, considering the timing, but like, surely they had something planned before he went on his creaking art. Was it a giant cookie? Please tell me it was a giant cookie.
And welcome back to another Minecraft Xbox 360 Hunger Games.
Etho, famed for keeping calm, was given a big stick to carry. He was gifted a weakened mace with infinite durability that was enchanted with Windburst 3. It didn't have enough power to do much damage to anyone, but it did combine with a secondary gift. Boosted wind charges would generate in his inventory and stop generating once it reached a stack. He would then take some of the wind charges out of his inventory to store in a shulker box that he crafted at the start of the episode, because of course he did, to then gain more wind charges because he had less than a stack. Whether or not these wind charges stay super wind charges after the episode's yet to be seen, but you know, we certainly hope that the hero name he gave himself doesn't stick around. The heavy basis on breeze-based items might be a reference to his innovations in breeze farming in a single-player world. It could also just be a secret life joke.
Whoa, did that make you jump, boy? Did that make anybody jump? Look out!
Did that make you jump?
Gem has a very unique power described as both astral projection and spectator mode in the past week, but it's slightly more complicated than that. The best way I can describe it is as substitution. Grian and the data pack makers were pretty set on making these powers balanced and not too over the top. As such, when they planned to give Gem access to Minecraft spectator mode, they had to make sure she could still be damaged. What actually happens in-game is that she does shift into spectator mode after pressing her power key. We can see her name being italicized in the player list. She then leaves a fake version of herself on the ground where she last stood. When she wants to return to her last location or her body double takes damage, we can see the real Gem teleport to where the fake Gem was before the fake Gem disappears. We've seen mentions of this being her power due to her watching the cameras a lot while playing Phasmophobia, or how she was a ghost that possessed Cleo in limited life, but I mean, we're not confident in those as an explanation, really.
Oh, he touched it! You're not allowed to touch the ghost! How many times do we have to teach this lesson, old man?
We just went through this with Jimmy last game.
Scar can sit on top of any entity, and we're pretty sure that's a wheelchair reference. In addition to this, though, he can also punch things as if his fists were enchanted with knockback, and his entire body is enchanted with thorns. The knockback punches are due to a proposed wildcard that Scar made to Grian before the season began, and the thorns are from the spines still in him from being punched into all those cacti in Third Life. Thinking about never leaving the desert never left him. Here's the thing, with super strength, a spiky body, and the ability to mount onto other entities to use as transportation, he's an echidna. He's just an echidna.
No, thank you, sir.
I'm gonna ride you!
Grian's powers are explicitly stated to be given to him for balancing purposes. Since he runs this series, he had to give his approval on every power developed, along with coming up with some of the ideas on his own. As such, he was given the power of mimicry, as a mimic would know everyone else's powers, regardless of his status as admin. By catching line of sight with another player, he could press his M key and be able to use their powers for 5 minutes. This inspiration could have come from the jokes that call him a parrot, as parrots can imitate voices, but I like to think it's because he's literally a wild card.
Oh, wait!
Super fast days!
Impulse had a very important ability to ignore the drawing that he used very responsibly. He could teleport wherever he looked by pressing his M key, and by accidentally trying to teleport while another player was in his crosshairs, he found out he was able to swap places with them. He had a very creative video title for that. Similarly to Etho's wind charges, Impulse passively generated ender pearls, but somehow didn't notice them or use them. Like, he didn't even why would he generate them if he could teleport without them? He didn't even give them to other players. Like, it's silly. It's silly.
Somewhere you teleport briefly on someone, you swap with them? Yep.
I don't like it. That one feels violent.
Martin is known for being a busybody in every season, and his power has done nothing but enable this behavior. He gained the ability to listen to any conversation as long as he could see one of the people within that conversation. This came with a fun radio static sound effect, so now everyone can start headcanoning him as part robot. You're welcome. He chose to pretend that he just hadn't figured out his ability to get some more spying in, but people eventually did figure out what his power was. While this is definitely inspired by Martin loving to stick his nose into things that he doesn't belong in, he also has a lot of lore he's carried over from the Evo SMP regarding a group called The Listeners, which this is a likely reference to.
I don't understand.
You wouldn't. You're more of a listener.
Alright, we've reached the halfway point of the list, and I've been talking for a while, so let's all take a break, yeah?
Why didn't you dress up for this?
I'm literally wearing all black.
Lizzie's name as LDShadowLady became literal this week. She was able to inflict the blindness effect on nearby players within a radius, obscuring their vision. She would then turn invisible as well, allowing her to sneakily get away from any altercation. Grian straight up told Lizzie that the ability was named Escape Plan, which tells us that they all have cool nicknames, but Grian wasn't nice enough to let us know. Lizzie, blind that man.
Whoa! Oh my gosh, what happened?
Who gave us darkness?
What the heck? Lizzie, is she gone? Was that her?
Pearl was leaps and bounds above the rest with the most powerful jumping ability out of the entire server. The only other person who could jump was Etho, but still, she would take no fall damage using her ability, and she believed that was all she could do. It wasn't until Grian copied her ability that Pearl realized she could glide after she left. She also was given a custom model on her head when she first activated her ability. It is a pair of goggles that have wings attached, reminiscent of the winged hat seen in artwork of Hermes, the Greek god of travelers and messengers, among other things, who could also fly. This is most likely a reference to her role in Hermitcraft Season 10 as the mail lady, as she started a post office with the help of Etho and Tango on the server. Her ability to fly also fits with a popular choice in fan art to draw her with moth-like features, due to her name being Moon.
You're forgetting something super important. Here, I'm gonna take your power for a second with you.
You can
ready?
take it. What?
I can borrow them, right?
What? Oh! Okay, he's gonna show me how it's done. He's gonna show me how to use my... Wow, I can fly! Of course I got wings on my face. Of course I can fly. Okay, can I have that back now?
Rendog took to the stage with his power and played this session as anyone but himself. By activating his ability while looking at a player, he copied their DNA. Activating his ability again turned him into the copied person until he took damage or deactivated it. Activating his ability again turned him into the copied person until he took damage or deactivated it. He failed to notice this, and his ability seemingly did not work for quite a while. After the Paddle Pals had managed to discover his ability, they also didn't want to reveal Ren's power to the server so it could work most effectively. The team decided to say his ability was water breathing, which people did not believe at all. Ren is known for being dramatic and loving to roleplay and act, so it makes sense for him to literally become a role. He also has an attack on his official trading card called Roleplay, so I just added the information for that on the slide because I was delirious when I made it.
Hey, Jam.
It's me, Jam. Hi. Hey, everyone.
God, I look good. Damn.
Oh, it's Ren!
Scott somehow jinxed himself at the start of the session, giving himself what appeared to be the lamest power in his words at the time, turning into passive mobs. The ability had no time limit and randomized the mob each time it was activated. He was later told by Grian to activate his ability while looking at one of Big B's creakings, which led to him discovering that he could turn into any mob as long as he was looking at them. I think he should be able to turn into a unicorn, but we can't all be happy. Like me, hunched over my desk drawing all 16 of these slides for the past week.
I get a superpower and I have a button that I push to activate it, but I just don't know what it's gonna be. So this could be really, really cool or really, really, really lame.
Joel could triple jump. He would activate his ability, hit his spacebar 3 times, and travel through the air like he was a certain character from a game developed by Masahiro Sakurai. Just can't remember the name of that game though. He wouldn't take fall damage when his ability was active, but he would if he fell without it. This jumping pattern for Joel could be a reference to his MCC9 appearance. He and his team of Grian, Martin, and Jimmy all vowed to purchase each other lordships, and they came 8th place or higher in the entire event, and they successfully made it to exactly 8th place. Joel was certified under the name Lord Joel Jumperman for his successes in the game Parkour Warrior. Jimmy is usually out first and has a history of dying in Session 7, so his power helped him keep up his defiance of fate this season. He could turn invisible indefinitely, rendering all his gear invisible as well. He would be able to walk around unnoticed, but he did leave behind faint smoke particles where his body would be. At least 3 people noticed the particles, and mobs would still attempt to attack him. If he took damage then, his invisibility would stop, but there was no cooldown to disappear again. I don't have a relevant clip for this one, here's him losing his mind.
No! Oh my gosh! If I had a nickel for every life series Jimmy won, how many nickels would I have? The meme came back to haunt me in the actual game!
As if he hadn't been annoying enough this season, Tango was given super speed, running around the server to bother everyone in seconds. This was balanced out with the Hunger 3 status effect, so he couldn't sprint indefinitely. This made it incredibly hard to hit or trap him, making everyone want to kill him. Also, when his ability was active, he was given Frostwalker to mimic how comic book speedsters can run on water. All this ice could also be a reference to his Hermitcraft Season 9 project, the Deep Frost Citadel. Tango was also known for saying the phrase flee with extra flee, which this power definitely is.
My superpower is cowardice. Flee with extra flee!
Cleo's superpower took inspiration from her title as Zombie and gave her the ability to dramatically raise the undead to do her bidding.
Who keeps making the golden noise?
This sounds like a really cool power, but the undead are Mumbo and Skiz. Cleo had a cooldown of 5 minutes after summoning them, which sounds like a short amount of time, but her minions ended up dying before the 5 minutes passed repeatedly, so she ended up waiting most of the time.
You guys are difficult to keep alive.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Skiz, you blew up the car!
Mumbo, go talk to Gem!
Each zombie only had 4 hearts, a dream, and wavering loyalties. They were loyal to whoever summoned them, be it Cleo or Grian mimicking Cleo. However, the zombies were not in their undead state, their spirits could roam around freely with no need to obey their summoners. In this state, the undead duo had received a book at the start of the session that told them the rules of their condition, and that there was one player that could speak to them when they were ghosts. This was Gem, who strong-armed the two into acknowledging her as their boss when they were in spirit form. Gem is great, Gemini slay, etc.
Have to follow orders.
Well, not when you're up here with me. Now you're mine.
No. That's...
I don't think that's how it works.
No, it is. I'm the only one here alive who could talk to you when you're dead.
And that's all their powers. You know, last week I thought I'd left someone out of the playlist because I only had 17 videos in there rather than 18, and then I remember that Mumbo died, and I was like, oh, that's fine. I actually sighed in relief when Skiz died last week since we'd have fewer videos to watch. Except Mumbo and Skiz are back from the dead with videos, so I guess they just hate me in particular. There are only going to be 15 videos in the next session because Martin died more on that later, but, you know, thank goodness that next week's going to be easier, am I right? Wait, hold on. I just took a look at their Minecraft skins. Why are they all zombies? Every single one of them is zombie. Oh, hi, Ren. Do you like snails? Robots, stickers, hoodies? We've got those. There's a website. You should get something. Maybe a mug. Everyone likes mugs under the Christmas tree. Get your loved one a mug. Mugs.
While the wild card certainly shook up the players' episodes, they still had plenty of time for murder and betrayal. Mumbo was quite deadly, actually, tying with Scar for most kills this session. This annoyed Grian to no end, as did Mumbo killing him as he was fishing, but given that Grian is the one who allowed Mumbo back for this episode, that's on him. Despite his ability to skip the night being particularly useful to the server, Beat-Up still found himself murdered by Scar while sleeping. This made him paranoid for the rest of the session, hiding his bed so he could sleep without fear. He was later killed by Ren, dropping him to red and making him ready to go on a rampage.
Hey all, I'm vicious and furious. Okay.
Oh, you're so scary, Beat-Ups. Aww.
I got a kiss.
He had to compete with Mumbo for the right to kill Ren, as Mumbo made use of one of his favorite items and exploded Ren with an end crystal. Now, Ren walked away from Mumbo when he saw the crystal, and then walked back over? Why did he do that? He also got knocked off the wall of the final girl's space by the mustached man, so perhaps he just felt bad for Mumbo. With bounties out for all of the Lime names, the server members quickly turned on each other once they were able to kill. The second Grian mentioned the lack of Lime names left on his server, Joel set out to complete his favorite mission in the Life series, killing Scott. He dropped a TNT minecart on him from a tree and also got Pearl in the process.
Oh, there's no more greens.
See you later, guys! Goodbye! 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 You guys killed me, too! I'm so sorry!
Mumbo's tower continued to take lives this week as Jimmy, seeing Impulse standing on top of the tower, pushed him off with a wind charge. Unfortunately, Impulse reacted in time and was able to have his totem break instead. Much of the server knew that he had the totem at this point, so either way it would have been a matter of time until someone forced him to use it. Scar made sure the banned bunker became just a little bit more secret by killing one of the outsiders who knew about it permanently. Scar first tried with an impulse-powered Grian to kill Martin by teleporting him into lava, but that failed. Scar later tried to kill Martin again, but Martin swam into a cave with Scar on his head as he tried to drown him. Both survived this. Martin then waited atop Beat-Ups' tower for Etho to jump on top, but he was spotted. This caused Etho to try and hit Martin with his mace, but as with every other time Etho tried to use the mace, he kept missing and Martin escaped inside, and Tango died to one of Martin's creepers instead. Martin returned to Beat-Up's tower, using it as a vantage point to spy on others and drop creepers. He failed to notice Scar coming up the tower until he was in the middle of being attacked. Martin spawned in a creeper to try and kill Scar, but failed to put up his shield while Scar did successfully, only killing Martin instead. Nice fumble, King. With all this death, most groups have broken off alliances. The family, while technically including Grian, is mostly contained to just Gem and Joel, especially from Gem's point of view.
I'm tight with Joel. Everybody else is just sort of a side bit. He's our side widow.
The Bamboozlers are still intact, with Grian still out for Jimmy's head and seemingly fine with Scar. With Martin eliminated and Bigby already with the final girls, Ren asked to join them, but died to the zombies before an answer was fully given and the session ended, so we'll see how things start next week. The last team is technically the tough guys, but we're not sure if they'll still be together heading into next week. Their meeting at the start of the session was entirely focused on Etho being in cahoots with every other team. However, while Beat-Ups was speaking about his thoughts on the matter, Etho gets snappy with him.
You know, Tango, I got asked by Pearl to join up with her at the end of last episode, and I said sure.
Yeah.
I said sure. And then
Oh, you did,
left.
did you?
I did, yeah.
Mr. High and Mighty. Oh, I'm so much better than you because I'm not so loose, Etho. What is this?
Well, I mean, I was saying that to help you to give credit.
Keeping your doors open, your options open, are you?
Yeah, well, yeah.
The tough guys worked with and against each other the entire session, so at this point we really don't know if they like each other or not. We thought it was common knowledge that Etho being friendly with every team was a survival tactic and not him truly being allies with everyone. And it is common knowledge. Just not for Jimmy.
Well, Etho was just friends with us. So you're telling me he gets around, huh?
We go back out to our field team to see all the creative ways the lifers used their powers this past week.
From the producers of the hit Broadway musical adaptation of Wicked, and not the producers of the alright movie adaptation of Wicked, comes a new frontrunner hitting the Great White Way. Wicked. It's about two candles. One of them is green. The candle is shunned from society for being green, and fights for the rights of blocky animals. The candle sings a song about defying, it goes, Look, alright, the entertainment industry has been running out of ideas for years. Just buy the tickets, please.
It wouldn't be a session if someone didn't weaponize the wild card or died from a very avoidable fact of it, and we certainly had our share of that this week. Let's start non-lethal with Scar, who apparently signed everyone up for a ride-sharing service behind their backs. The main drivers were mainly those with mobility powers, and some more willing than others. Joel didn't approve of Scar clinging along for the ride, but Pearl and Grian were willing to fly him around even though he was a flight risk given they couldn't see with his legs in the way.
Ready? Bye, Etho.
Whoa!
I can show you the world, Scar.
Give me your hand. You can show me the world. Look at us! Look at us!
I can't believe your
Oh, this is
superpower
cool.
is to sit.
Blow out the candles. Blow out the candles.
Ready?
Hey Scar, those aren't the lyrics. Scar also used his power to cause some accidents. He knocked Big B off of Cherry Mountain, but was unable to kill him. He was more successful with Martin, who he knocked off while politely discussing murder with him. Scott was nearby, spying as a chicken, and watched the whole ordeal. He accidentally blew his cover and was punched off as well. Not really necessary, but pop off, Scar. Jimmy, Martin, and Scott all made frequent use of their abilities to listen in on conversations unseen. Scott chickened out of having social interactions this week, although he did get caught on a few occasions for not acting enough like an NPC.
Hey, does that creeper look sus to you guys?
Martin used several occasions to spy on others, most often using his base and the top of Cherry Mountain, as they provided great vantage points for him to listen in on conversations. Jimmy's attempts at sneaking were sometimes successful, but some players caught on to his articles.
Wait, I just got a sixth sense for when you're nearby.
Hey, you know why you do.
Why?
You know.
Because I love you lots and
There
lots
it is.
and lots.
There it is.
And you're my best friend.
There it is. There it is.
Bye-bye.
See you in a bit.
He also tried to hop into conversations, but like many people sneaking around today, he forgot to unmute. Tango and B-Dubs experienced this and were nice enough to let him try again.
That Jimmy guy is so handsome, don't you think?
Yes,
Me handsome? Oh my gosh! Holy moly! Oh, I was gonna pop up in that conversation.
Grian was a pesky bird all session. While he did help people figure out their powers, this also let him know who had powers worth stealing. He took Martin so they could scheme with each other over long distances, stole Jimmy so he could place a creeper behind Cleo and kill them, went on a high-speed chase after Tango in an unsuccessful attempt to murder him, and finally faced the consequences of his delinquency when he copied Pearl, whose power ran out while he was still in the air as he forgot about the timer, mid-tier with an Icarus complex.
Oh, you're Grian.
You're welcome. Wait! No!
Grian, you muppet.
I'm an idiot!
Why did you... Oh.
He also took Cleo's ability on multiple occasions, sometimes killing the zombies first so he could use them. This brought the Spanish band back together, but given the zombies were prone to dying and Grian's ability didn't last long enough to resurrect them, they were not useful. At the very least, he kept good on his promise to return them.
I'm so sorry, Cleo.
It's okay, that's only the 8th time that has happened. It's fine.
I promise I will give them back.
Given the perceived and sadly true inability to kill clear zombies, she set them on tasks that were more suited to their capabilities. The first order was to insult Grian, which they took to like white on rice.
What is going on here?
Look at this guy
droopy
with his
long eyes.
stupid
He thinks he's
waffle.
all clever with his tower. He thought that was going to do something.
Yeah.
All it did was ruin his team. This guy thinks he's got ideas.
Short guy with a big
What
tower.
A joke.
Short guy with a big tower.
Have you been
joke
told
of
to
a
come and
teammate.
insult me?
She did give them some free will, allowing them to get revenge for crimes committed against them while alive and general crimes against architecture. They died many times doing so, eventually asking Gem and the Spirit Realm to be their union organizer and argue for them to receive armor and weapons. Remember kids, workers' rights are important, and any company trying to bust unions should be burned at the stake. In Minecraft. Given Impulse's ability also proved to be deadly, or at least when he wasn't using it to hop over fences. Given his swapping was only limited by line of sight, a group gathered that placed Impulse in a trap so he could switch places with a target and allow the group to kill them. This strategy partially got Gem, who was killed in the ensuing chase by Scott, and worked on Joel and Tango, both of whom were killed by Mumbo. Ren made a liberal use of his power to confuse people. He took the appearance of most of the lifers throughout the episode. The copied person was sometimes nearby, causing them to panic over seeing their body double, or have other feelings.
Hey everyone.
God, I look good.
In a few cases, the original was wrongly blamed for attacking their allies. The most confusing moment came after Martin was killed. Ren had tried to dress up as his ally to confuse the players attacking him, but was too late and Martin was eliminated. When everyone came back to killing Martin, only to see a second Martin, thoughts were certainly had.
Martin?
Oh wait, Martin's here.
Wait, you're
Wait, does he...
What's going on?
Dad, what's he doing?
Martin,
Get him over
stop!
there.
Is Martin immortal?
Have you ever seen a mug? Ceramic is a wonderful art, very underappreciated. Are you gonna let pottery as an art form go unrecognized? In this economy, support the dying industry of making mugs. Come on, if you don't, mugs might stop existing. Don't do that to mugs. What have they done to deserve that? Are you a monster? Buy a mug, you fiend. Disgusting. I would have never expected such heinous behavior from you. I'm ashamed to call myself your parent. Clean up your room. And buy a mug.
And that's it for this week. With 4 people left on yellow, next week will be a wild ride as we witness the season finale. If there's not at least one dramatic death, we will be sorely disappointed. Here's the list of everyone's current lives. There were a total of 53 deaths this session, only 17 of which were not the undead. The current permadeath count is now 3. I've been Rosaic, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Martin was a lovely soul, and there's something else they say at the end of funerals. You are not dismissed. Yeah, man. Do they say that?
Hey, did you know that guy? I could have sworn I was invited to a different person's funeral.
Oh, I wasn't even invited. I just show up to funerals for the food.
Oh.
Hello. We are the ones who watch. You have expired. How did you find this iteration of the game? Did you enjoy getting to live just a bit longer? Your feedback is important to us. It helps us improve our craft. Are you listening? It's polite to do that when one speaks. Oh well. Farewell, Mars. We'll see you in the next life.